Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaya. Lessons for Life from Swami Jagatmananda's inspiring bestseller Learn to Live, Volume 1, Chapter 2, Infinite Power Hidden Within You. Tiger turned into lamb. Actually, we are all powerful, all-knowing and eternally blissful. But on account of the ignorance of this fact, we behave like miserable, weak human beings. This truth is beautifully explained with the help of this illustration. Tiger turned into lamb. A herd of sheep was grazing on a large meadow. The northern side of the meadow bordered on a wild forest. One day, a tigress, torn by hunger, was lying in wait on a high rock for a prey. The sight of the herd of sheep caused her mouth to water. After a careful watch, she pounced on the herd, during which her head hit the sharp edge of flint and wounded her deeply, mortally. The tigress, in the advanced stage of carrying a young one in the womb, gave birth to a cub and died. The sheep, which had scurried away in fright, gradually returned to the meadow and were surprised to see the tigress still lying on the ground. After some time, they realized that the tigress was dead and felt pity for the small cub, which had been orphaned by the death of his mother. The sheep licked the tiger cub neat and gently carried him to their fold and put him among their own lambs. They fed him milk and taught him to eat grass, and thus brought him up with tender care. The tiger cub believed that he was a lamb and imitated the bleat of the lambs. The shepherd who had observed all this was filled with wonder at this nursing of the tiger cub by his sheep. One day, as the tiger cub was grazing grass on the meadow in the company of the herd of sheep, a new tiger who had got into the forest saw the cub in the midst of the sheep and was utterly taken aback. He went up to the tiger cub and admonished him for bleating like a lamb, and asked him to leave the fold of the sheep and to follow him. The cub was mortally afraid and pleaded, "Please let me go. I am a lamb. Let me graze the grass. Leave me alone." The tiger regretted that the cub was so ignorant of his own identity, took him to the bank of a pond in the neighborhood, showed him his reflection in the water, and convinced the cub that he was not a lamb but a tiger cub. The tiger took him to the forest and taught him how to hunt for game. He rode several times and walked majestically up and down to teach the tiger cub what was expected of him. It took quite a few days for the cub to be convinced that he was not a lamb, but a tiger cub. Once convinced about his identity, he freely moved in the wilderness like a tiger. Though he was a ferocious tiger, the tiger cub had believed that he was only a gentle lamb. Though in fact the ferocity of a tiger was present in its body, so long as he was unaware of his true identity, he believed that he was a lamb, and he behaved in a manner natural for a lamb. Even while he was behaving like a lamb, he was truly a tiger. What then had made him act like a lamb? It was nothing but deep-rooted misconception and ignorance of his true nature. Once the ignorance was removed and he became aware of his identity, his fear and hesitation disappeared. Then he behaved in a natural way. Self-confidence is not arrogance. Arrogance proceeds from ignorance. Self-confidence increases with the awareness of the potential power in each individual. What we strongly believe has a tremendous influence on our outlook, emotions, and actions. In fact, it exerts a powerful influence on our whole personality. There is no doubt about it. Our perception of truth is limited by the extent of our knowledge. As the extent of our knowledge goes on expanding, our concept of the absolute truth also goes on changing. This is another truth which we should bear in mind. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.